I know you gonna dig this.
Get funky with me.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Here I am on the very, very busy Sunset Strip here in West Hollywood, and it's rush hour, but it gets even busier than this. It gets even crazier. We're right across the street. That's the old Hyatt House, also known as the Riot House, which back in the day, that's where all the bands would stay. Rock stars, musicians, actors. Sunset Strip is their playground, and across the street here, comedy store right there, world famous comedy store, Chateau Marmont just down the street. Everything's right here. And right around the corner here is a hotel called the Mondrian. And the Mondrian has been around for a while, and it's ritzy, it's nice. And in 2007, a rapper by the name of Pimp C, real name Chad Butler, passed away here. Now, a lot of this video takes place in Beaumont, Texas, or Port Arthur. I think it's Port Arthur. South of Beaumont, I went to visit his grave. But I want to start off the video here in Los Angeles, where he passed away, and talk to you a little bit about what happened. And yes, he's right up around the corner here. It's very loud on the Sunset Strip. But Pimp C was a big influential rapper. He was from the Texas hip-hop scene in the 90s. He part of the Underground Kingz, just a really technical, good rapper. And sadly, this is where he passed away, at a young age. Always at a young age, right? Now it's very loud. I'm gonna try to talk very loudly so you can hear me, because as I mentioned, Sunset Strip always busy, and of course at night is when it's gonna get really busy. And yeah, he was only 33 years old. He formed Underground Kingz with Bun B while he was in high school, and that was a rap duo that were very popular. Like I said, they influenced a lot of other rappers that became big. He was on the track Big Pimpin' with Jay-Z. And how many albums did they have? I think Big Pimpin' was what he would most be known for, like to mainstream audiences. I think they had Too Hard to Swallow, Super Tight, Ridin Dirty. Ridin Dirty was like 96, and that's a classic. That's an absolute classic. In jail for I think 3 years, around 2002. On gun charges, but that gave him a lot of exposure actually. And Free Pimp C, that became a big slogan. So here's the Mondrian right here. Now there's some weird stuff somewhat to do with his death. I don't think there's anything, I personally don't think there's anything nefarious, but there was a lot of speculation at the time. So he'd been working on new music, and he was performing with Too Short, and that's why he was out here in Hollywood. He was scheduled to fly back home, and his wife was waiting with his cousin at the airport to pick him up. But she didn't hear from him on the day of his scheduled flight, so she called the hotel and requested that they check on him. The hotel staff went up, they discovered him unresponsive in his room, and paramedics pronounced him dead at 33 years old here at this hotel. Now, the coroner's report ruled that Chad Butler, Pimp C's death, was accidental, attributed to the effects of heavy usage of lean. If you don't know what lean is, it's a combination of codeine and promethazine. And he also had a pre-existing condition of sleep apnea. And he rapped about lean quite a bit. A lot of rappers do. Now, his manager described seeing Pimp C lying down like he was praying, but there was blood around like he was shot. They thought he was shot in the head, but they didn't know what the hell happened because there was blood everywhere. I'm quoting right now. They thought he was shot. He was knelt down like he was praying, and the candles were all the way burnt down, so they knew he'd probably been dead for a day or so because he always lit the candles to sleep. He lit those big tall candles and they had been burnt down, so he probably was dead for a while. So because of the manner in which he was found praying, they thought, you know, people were speculating, but I think it's just the way he kind of ended up, kind of fell. So when that story broke out, people were saying that it could have been something else, or, like I said, more nefarious. So yeah, his funeral was held in Port Arthur at the Civic Center. So you can see he was very popular to have a funeral at a Civic Center. And that's where we're gonna go now. We're gonna go to Port Arthur, Texas. I've already filmed that part. But that's where Pimp C passed away, right there, that hotel. Made it to Port Arthur, Texas, Green Lawn Memorial Park. Port Arthur is just south of Beaumont, and that's about 2 hours east of Houston, right near the Louisiana border. Let's go visit Chad Butler, Pimp C. It'll be right down here. Okay, let's go. This cemetery is huge. It said Johnson Cemetery when I passed like a certain point, but it's Green Lawn Memorial Park. I'm not sure what the Johnson Cemetery, why it switched over to say that. But this is a very, very, it might be the only cemetery in Port Arthur. I'm not sure. I've been to Port Arthur once before. But there's a lot of graves, as I showed you. There's a lot here. Chad Butler should be right around here on the wall somewhere. In the wall, I should say. I believe. So between himself and the Underground Kingz, I counted about 10 albums that I could find, and tons of singles, and of course mixtapes and things like that. So he's quite a prolific artist. And when I say artist, he was well versed in a lot of instruments. He was the son of a trumpet player. So his home, like he was, lots of different types of music was played in his house growing up. His early influences were B.B. King, Ray Charles, Marvin Gaye. Now his parents divorced. His mother got remarried to a band teacher, a music teacher, and taught him to read music, and later influenced him to use more musical instruments in his sounds and the music he was creating. So I believe I'm going the right way. So for Texas rap, he was very, very influential. Like I said, the Underground Kingz, that was with his partner. Bernard Freeman was his name. Never forgot his roots, though. I mean, he's buried back here in Port Arthur, and this is where he's from. This is where he was born. But they were on a major label. They helped local artists get started. And he did go to jail for aggravated assault at one point. And I believe he had pled no contest, but he had to serve community service. But he fell behind on that, and then he went to jail for a little while, not too long. And when he got out, he issued a solo album, and it went gold. So I was looking at some of his albums. There he is right there. Oh yeah, 2007. A lot of his albums, probably a few of them were released posthumously after his death, I think. But here is the final resting place of Chad Butler, Pimp C, right there. And people have come and left some things, drinks, paraphernalia, as you can see right there. Some young people here. There's Chad. Some flowers are there for him. I'm gonna put that there. Chad Butler. Wow. That's Pimp C. Whew. So yeah, back in the southeast corner. 15 and 18, 33. Some young people here. There's an absolutely beautiful grave for a young man right to my right. Just show you briefly with all the photos and all that. And I hope he's resting peacefully. It's photos of him growing up through the years. Jeez. You know, when people... This says here, the best part of my life was loving you every day. When people are callous about how certain people died, I have no idea how this young man passed away, by the way, to my right. But I was speaking about if somebody dies of overdose, somebody dies of not natural causes, if they're in a lifestyle that you don't agree with or is unsafe, is dangerous. If they're on the street struggling, and we pass them every day and treat them as not human. This has nothing to do with Pimp C. This sort of does, but because of how he died, some people say, oh, well, addiction or drinking drugs. I always think of something like this, and I hope Cody here doesn't mind me using his photos, because see how young, adorable, cute, sweet. See that? That's how all of us start out. And I'm not quoting scripture, or especially not quoting it correctly probably, but for the grace of God go I. Not everybody gets the life they thought they were going to have when they started out. And I am preaching a little bit, but I just get comments sometimes like, oh, well, they deserved it. Oh, well, they lived that way, blah, blah, da, da, da. If it's, an unnatural death or something like that. And everybody starts out the same, sweet and innocent. And Chad, we miss you, man. Pimp C. But have a little compassion for other people, right? Let's try to. Okay, that was my visit to Chad Butler, Pimp C. Thanks for watching, everybody. Love you all. Rest in peace, Pimp C. Peace.